What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So I know a lot of you guys are already thinking, what do you mean Tyron Smith isn't our most impactful offensive line signing? This isn't to discredit any of our other signings by any means, but let me walk you guys into the thought process here, right? Tyron Smith obviously is going to be a legendary left tackle in NFL history. We don't even need to dive into it. You guys know all of the stats about him essentially ranking no worse than third in many cases for important pass blocking metrics and what that'll mean for Aaron Rodgers keeping his jersey off of the grass. Morgan Moses, he was an above average tackle when we had him. He got to the Ravens. He's only looked even better. I believe what I showed you guys before, he was top 10 in terms of being a right tackle in the run blocking game and isn't a failure by any means in pass blocking. We know Joe Tippmann looks great as a rookie, making that all-rookie team. In AVT, we know how elite he is. We've seen the huge differentials in what our run game looks like and even the passing game with him on the field versus him not. And so you get very excited. When I'm thinking impact, I'm thinking just beyond the 2023 season, right? One of the things a lot of you guys in my own comments as I'm breaking down offensive linemen, or I'm talking about draft plans, or we're talking about the current state of the Jets, the offensive line is generally where a lot of those conversations start, and a lot of the agitating factors for you guys is that we need to build through the draft, right? We don't have any guys that are going to stay together for a consistent amount of time, and then you can kind of rotate a guy in and out here and there as he gets paid elsewhere, or injuries hit, or maybe you miss on a certain guy, etc. John Simpson, we're getting him at age 26, right? He has a 2-year, $18 million deal with us. This is a guy that if things break right this year, you can pay that man for the next 2, 3, 4 years. And now you're talking about having a interior trio, John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, and a lot of those concerns get alleviated, right? 3 guys locked in a place that you feel really good about. Again, that's with the asterisk that 2024 season goes well for John Simpson. And then you're still talking about, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but maybe drafting a tackle at 10. If not, we're definitely getting one at some point in this draft. There's a lot of analysts and even some of us that still think Carter Warren could become something for us. So, like, a lot of those conversations kind of work itself out. But John Simpson, 2023, he really put himself on the map out there, right? This is one of the most underrated signings, and one that I can't harp on enough that I think is going to have long-term benefits for the New York Jets. I really look at John Simpson as kind of the current version of Nate Herbig for us, a chance for the New York Jets to correct that mistake that we originally made when we let him go. You even look at the profiles and it's kind of the same, right? Nate Herbig was a guy that was more of a power run blocking scheme kind of guy, wasn't necessarily known for pass blocking, and he didn't really fit the mold of the offensive lineman that we usually would like to draft or sign in that would fit a wide zone running scheme, right? Guys that are highly athletic and mobile. We want guys to get to their landmarks, guys that can open up run blocking lanes for our running backs, and that's generally done by getting to said landmark, right? We're not it's not a gap scheme, right, where you're going man to man. You're looking to open up those avenues for the running back to figure out where the creases are and how to break off those plays. It's essentially an identical match here with a guy like John Simpson, but I think we are buying in at the perfect time. You take a look at what he's done in 2023, and a lot of this conversation kind of got centered around the fact that I was looking at a lot of the highlights, from yesterday where the NFL released their performance incentive payouts for guys for the 2023 season. John Simpson led the entire NFL, right? And the ideology kind of matches what we're going to get into in terms of what you classically would think of when you talk about performance payouts. From this perspective, what it actually just is based on the playing time of the player and the salary levels, not only themselves, but what's happening on their current teams. They're eligible for, said bonus. John Simpson got somewhere in the range of $975,000. excellent for him. And what I mean in ideology is that if you're on the field for a high level of snaps, unless your team really just has no other options or choice, that generally means that you are viewed in a high capacity in their eyes, right? You're performing above average at the minimum. You're probably looking at elite territory at the best situations, right? John Simpson kind of fits that criteria. You take a look at, again, a guy that's not known to be a highly effective pass blocker, but in that Ravens offense, that's exactly what he is. And a lot of people are going to say, well, Lamar Jackson is, evasive king, right? He's going to make guys miss. He's going to be able to take off and run more often than many other quarterbacks are going to. Highly effective passer, right? Improved his pass blocking ability. Not pass blocking. Improved his pocket passing ability. That's not necessarily a hindrance to John Simpson here. In that same tone, you can make a huge argument that guys are going to, guys like Lamar Jackson are going to dance around a little bit. There's going to be a lot more nuance to the pass blocking that needs to happen, a lot more nuances in the run game because your quarterback is also, in his case, operating as your lead running back in that offense in many cases as well. Taking a look at pass blocking, 2023, 27 total pressures, over 644 pass blocking snaps per Pro Football Focus. Pretty great number for himself. He had a pressure rate of 4.2% that ranked him 21st out of 78 qualified guards. You drill into that number even further, he had a sack to hit rate of 0.93%, which ranked 20th of 78 qualified guards. And what does that mean? Every pressure that he allowed doesn't equate to automatically the quarterback getting touched up and hit. It doesn't equate to the quarterback ending up on the ground in a sack, right? You compare that with another elite number for his average time of pressure. He had the 5th longest time of all left guards in 2023 with 3.32 seconds. So he allowed 27 total pressures. Generally, all of those 27 total pressures averaged 3.32 seconds for the defensive tackle to even get past John Simpson. And then in only those 0.93% of those 27 pressures did he allow his quarterback to get hit or result in a sack. So this is what you love to see, right? Even if he's getting beat, it's never really clean with a number that high, which means that you don't really have to worry about a guy just, play being over in 2 seconds because John Simpson got mauled, right? And he's doing this against some pretty elite guys in 2023. We want to talk about the run game real quick. This was an interesting one because we don't, I've talked about this before, not a ton of metrics about, highly effective or porous run blocking ability. People really rely on PFF. They gave him a 56.9 run blocking grade. Only 49th out of 78, so it made him, out of 78 qualified guards, made him look like a kind of middle of the pack type guy. But when you look on film, you take a look at some of the better defensive tackles, and I'm putting that lightly, that he faced in a run game last year. 49ers and Kinlaw, right? He's on the Jets now, so there's going to be a lot of familiarity there. Not in that elite territory, but he was a guy that broke out, if you will, last year. The Rams with Aaron Donald, the GOAT, right? You're talking about the argument with him being, is he the most impactful defensive player in NFL history? Not just at his position, but I'm tired, guys. He has elevated what it means to be elite in terms of just being a defensive player overall, right? And then you take a look at the Titans and Jeffrey Simmons, another guy from Quentin Williams' draft class, if I remember correctly, paid a ridiculous amount of money. He's been one of the more elite defensive tackles in the NFL for the younger crop that's coming out. And he put up impressive tape against all of those guys, right? For the most part, you can make a strong argument that he won a lot of those run blocking snaps in many of those cases. 15th out of 64th in qualified guards with a 47.5% gap blocking rate. That is the only concerning number from him from a statistical perspective, right? What do I mean with that? the New York Jets, we run a wide 9 gap scheme, right? That means we're not going man to man. As I mentioned, we're looking to hit landmarks, create lanes. Will the New York Jets be making that adjustment, right? This could be a situation where everything lines up perfectly. Nathaniel Hackett is building this run game and Keith Carter around the skill set of the offensive line and not forcing square objects through round holes. But if we do end up being more heavily reliant, he's not a guy that athletically tests superior to a lot of guys. He's very much so average or poor in some of those cases. And so you don't want to put him in a situation where he's, pretty much doomed to fail. But you're bringing in Morgan Moses, another guy from the Ravens offense as well, where they utilize a lot of those techniques. So maybe there is a change that's coming, right? Not necessarily saying we're going to become a power run blocking type scheme more consistently than anything else. But I think we introduced some more of those concepts. So if you guys have stuck with me this long, much appreciated. Ultimately, though, let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy here in terms of kind of this whole elaborate, impactful player type conversation, or do you guys agree? I think when it's all said and done, John Simpson is probably the most likely guy out of our trio of offensive line signings this offseason to remain with this roster and continue to perform well, right? A lot of also what I'm thinking about is life after Aaron Rodgers. You take a look at 3 years from now if he doesn't happen to be with us, and at the very least you're setting up your next quarterback, most likely a rookie, in a very favorable situation. You would imagine you have another tackle position filled out at the very least, and so now you're talking about 3 or 4 linemen set in stone for you. I don't think it's a better situation you can ask for than that. But let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you again. Peace.